Hello, I'm Nancy Strickland, and this video will show you how to work with physical sensors in Windows 7. We're going to look at this application that uses the Windows API Code Pack. The API Code Pack gives you managed wrappers around the basic native code API for working with sensors, and you can download it from MSDN. Before we start in on the code, let me show you. I'm going to open the control panel here and show you that in the location and other sensors part of that control panel, you need to enable the sensors that you want to work with. I've got two of them here. One is from what's called the Sensor Development Kit, and that's a hardware board from Microsoft that's for demonstration purposes. And the other down here, the Virtual Light Sensor, is included in the SDK for Windows 7 to simulate a real hardware light sensor, and I'm going to enable them both, as you can see. Because I'm using the Sensor Development Kit hardware, I also had to download the Sensor Development Kit software from MSDN so I can install the driver. Okay, now back to the code. Over here, of the 4 projects that are part of this solution, these 3, Code and Sensors and Shell, are from the API Code Pack. When you download and you unzip the API Code Pack, it creates those projects along with several others. So you just add them to your solution as existing projects from wherever you unzip the code pack to. And then in this project that I'm writing, the ambient sensor demo, you can see that I've added references to them. And then if I go to the code over here, you can see that I've got some usings for the sensors and the dialogues namespaces that are part of the code pack. And then here in the code for Form 1, I've declared an ambient light sensor type. And then down here in the constructor, I have a handler for the sensors changed event. That event is raised whenever a sensor is connected to or disconnected from the computer. So when I run this app, I'll start the application running first, and then only when the application detects, or the computer detects, that a sensor has been attached and that application receives that event, then this handler is going to be invoked. And you can see that this event comes from the Sensor Manager class, which is the main class that manages all the devices connected to the PC. Now the handler that we're going to call is right down here below it, and it in turn invokes another method, this get data method that's down here below it. And again, we're going to use that Sensor Manager class and call a static method of that class called getSensor by type ID. And in this case, you can see it's looking for ambient light sensors. So all those that it finds are going to be returned to this ambient light sensor ALS list. Then we're going to assign the first one on that list to my sensor variable, class variable. And now, if it's ready, if the state of that sensor is ready, then we'll get the property for its current luminous intensity, its light level, and assign that to the value property of my light level indicator, which is a progress bar that is on the form itself over here. That's all that's on the form, is this progress bar. I'm going to set the auto update data report property to true for that sensor, and that means anytime the data report is changed, anytime that sensor detects a change in its input data, then we're going to invoke another delegate. There's a lot of delegates in this, and that will just do the same thing again, get the current light intensity, change it to an integer, and assign it to the value property of that progress bar. And then I've just got a little catch down here in case there's an exception thrown. Okay, now I'm going to run it. When it starts running, the sensor is not going to be connected. Now I'm going to plug in my USB. And in a few seconds, you're going to hear the little sound that says a new device has been detected. At that point, my sensor's changed event handler will kick in. There it is. And the readings from the sensor show up on the form. And there's my reading. Now, you can't see this, but what I'm doing now is I'm covering up that light sensor with my hand. And you can see that I got 0 light intensity. Letting go again. Going to rub my hand, kind of wave my hand back and forth over it. So that just shows that our code works at the basic level. We're reading from the sensor and capturing that data. What you could then do based on that data would be something like changing the screen brightness or the screen contrast, or maybe the text size or colors or something. That part's up to you. This, of course, is a simplified example because I want to get it done in 7 minutes. So there's other demonstrations. There's sample code that's available to you as part of the downloads I mentioned. Also, there are other sensors, like accelerometers, for example, that the API code pack can work with. The way to handle them is similar to what you've just seen, so I hope this video has given you a general idea of how to work with sensors in Windows 7 in less than 7 minutes.